senior citizen now. I don't know how to ask for senior citizen discounts, but I'm going to figure out how I do that. Okay. Any advice for a nanny? No, I don't teach nannying. I only teach parenting. I don't teach teaching. I don't know about any of those things. I've never done them. So yeah, I don't teach it. And I teach parenting leadership. So I stay in that lane. I'm very careful about that. And whenever I'm hired by people who have nannies, I've actually had them, they don't tend to do it anymore, but years ago I wasn't online as much. So people weren't as prepared going into coaching. So they would sometimes turn up with their nannies. And I said, you're going to have to ask the nannies to leave because I don't teach nannying and I only teach parenting. They can back up the parents, but I don't want them doing, leading. Albany, Oregon. You're a grandma too. Excellent. Isn't it great? I love it. Any way to get my 4-year-old to be nicer to his grandma? She lives with us and is in a wheelchair bound, and he tries to boss her around when playing games and when he's having a tantrum and she tries to talk to her, he tells her to stop talking to him. So Rudy doesn't act that bad. Okay, you can't address attitude with a 4-year-old because there's no point. The attitude is a sign of your lack of leadership. When you're a leader, they treat everyone with respect. They just do, because they're under your leadership umbrella. Their self-esteem is high. They like themselves. They feel good about themselves. So that's what you want to work on, is your leadership. But if he's ever really rude to her or says anything, you got to figure out what you can put on that board. And it can't be attitude, but it has to be, you can actually put something like, no saying this to her, no saying something. If he says something really rude to her, but you got to be careful with that. He's 4 years old. He can learn. He knows what he's doing. So yeah, it's your leadership. Oh, thanks, Tabitha. Is that Tabitha? You've got a new handle. Is that a different Tabitha? Not showing your live yet on YouTube unless I go to your page. Okay, well, I'm not even going to try on YouTube. I'm not going to try and fix it. I've tried 3 times to get set up on YouTube. It's just not working tonight. So I'm on Facebook right now, and then I'm going to go to Instagram, then I'm going to go to TikTok as usual. Okay. So yeah, sorry about the 4-year-old, but it means you're not a leader. If you were a leader, he'd be embarrassed to do that. So, my daughter got me for my birthday, one of the gifts was one of those mug warmers. Holy moly, it's great, because my tea used to go cold all the time. It's great, great, great. Love it. My 5-year-old son holds his poop. He says he just hates to poop. Total FOMO, fear of missing out. He will finally poop if the reward is good enough. Otherwise, we have to use, okay, I won't go into all that. I don't know about that. So I can't talk about medication. I'm not qualified to do so. But a lot of kids do hold their poop with FOMO or fear, just fear, not fear of missing out necessarily, but just fear of the toilet. So yeah, just have something that he can only do when he's on the toilet that he likes. So it could be like he only gets the iPad and there's a certain show on the iPad or a certain game he can play only when he's pooping. You can try that. There are 2 things that I use incentive or bribe or reward with. One is toileting, and the other one is school morning routine. It's the only 2 things I do that with. They're both kind of bodily functions, because when you're waking up, it's hard to wake up sometimes too. So that's more in the bodily function department. So I don't treat it as bad behavior. So I don't mind bribing in that situation. Okay, this is a complicated one, but I'm going to read it out because it is. I've been watching you for a while. Can you advise on how to manage a play date with 6 other kids, no parents, and all acting out? Nope. That's bedlam. That's next level stuff. Yeah, I've done it. I've hosted a lot of birthday parties, and I've done it. It is bedlam. And you're not leading those children. You're just trying to control the chaos. That's all it is. So yeah, I can't help you with that. Sorry about that. You can have a lot for them to do. They like structure, they like routines. They like stuff that, here's the structure. Here's the new game. You go there, you can try that. I was pretty good at having activities set up, stuff we were going to do. So it wasn't just them running around trying to get into trouble. But yeah, they're all hopped up on sugar and whatever else. So yeah, can't really help you with that. So I'm going to scroll ahead to make sure that you're still here when I answer your question. 20-month-old saying hi. Hello on YouTube. You've got a different handle on here. Is that still you? Is that the same Tabitha? So my eyesight isn't good enough to pick up the picture. Okay. Okay, again, I don't have enough information for that one, so I can't answer it. Kingsport, Tennessee. Can you talk about your coaching services? Do you provide services to the US? All over the world. I have very few Canadian clients. It's very rare if I get Canadian clients. It's mostly all over the world, like mostly US, a lot in Australia, England, a lot of English speaking, but a lot of non-English speaking, China, Japan, Abu Dhabi, all over the world. So yeah, it's all done online. I'm sorry, I do have a huge wait list. It's just frustrating for me. We're trying to figure out how to manage that. It's almost to the point where I feel like quitting coaching. I hate having people waiting. It just stresses me out. Because I'm in the caring field, right? You want to help people. So anyway, I'll get to it eventually. Also, what ends up happening on that wait list is a lot of people drop out because they maybe go to somewhere else. Because if they're waiting 2 or 3 or 4 months, right, for coaching, they'll drop out. And they'll find someone else because they really need urgent help, or they'll buy the course instead, and then that'll hold them over. So yeah, it's just because the wait list is huge. Oftentimes, if they're really been on there for months, they might not even want coaching anymore. I'll get through it. Okay. Same Tabitha. Okay. Just a 5-year-old anger outbursts. This is Nikki, over everything from not getting what he wants, when he wants, stuff he decides in his head he wants, but doesn't say out loud. He's breaking things and trying to hurt me. Okay. You're talking about the specific, the manifestations of this, but the cause is your lack of leadership. It always is. When you're a calm leader, it calms them down. They don't have outbursts or anything. So it's your leadership is everything. You start with the free behavior board. It's set up to teach you how to do this one step at a time. So you have a behavior board, and it talks about how you have to stay calm. When you look at that board too, a lot of it is body language, tone of voice, facial expressions. Like if a kid does something bad, you say, oh, let's go to the board if it's on the board, right? Because you're only dealing with one behavior per week. You start small, one step at a time, right? You master that one behavior, then you go on to another one. You'll have 3 different boards by the end of 3 weeks. So it's a free course. It's called the Behavior Board. It's at the very top of my website, BratBusters.com. You have to sign up for the newsletter to get it. Anyway, so you just start there. Start small. You master one. It's just teaching you. I don't fix kids. I fix and teach parents here. It teaches you how to calm down. And whenever I ask parents, like everyone wants to blame their kids for their behavior, and you know it's not them. It's always you. So you always want to work on yourself, never the kids. They will follow. You lead, they will follow. That's what leadership is. You're so busy reacting to them, to their actions. They're in charge. Whereas I don't. I act and let them react to me. There's a big difference there. Okay. But you also want them to feel empowered because I'm accountable too. I'm on that board too. You're on that board. By the way, I've never had a board. I've never used one. It's a teaching tool. Like I would never use one. There's no way I want kids looking at a board. I want them looking right at me. So when you get good at this, that's what happens. You don't need the board, but some parents still like it. It's a visual cue that things are changing, and they got a rule that they're focused on. So yeah, check out the board and then his behavior. You'll see the difference. Okay, Tabitha. Sometimes I say no and take away something she is waving around just in case. I don't know what to do. I treat it like she has hit someone saying no and take it. Oh, if she's waving it around, something she would, just in case. So she's playing with something inappropriately. She's only 20. Did you say 28 months old? 20 months old. I don't quite know what it is. Like, what's she waving around? Is it something she's going to chuck? I don't know. I don't know. I don't quite know how to answer that because I don't know what she's waving around. Like, is it a balloon? By the way, I'm not allowed to talk about balloons. They're evidently really dangerous. I didn't know that, but yeah, no balloons, evidently. Look it up. It's just been something recently. My daughter just found this and said, Mom, don't talk about balloons. Of course I talked about balloons. I have no filter. Okay. So she's saying hit. Oh, I see. She's chucking stuff around. Say, oh, then I would interrupt and I'd say no. And then I would take the toy away. Whatever she's throwing, I would take it away. Then I might sort of go off and start doing something else that she might join in with. Okay. You can give that a go. Now, she's a toddler. 16 to 35 months is a toddler. They're all about consistent corrective actions. They're not about words. Okay. So if they're throwing something around, they think they're going to hit with it. You say, oh, no. And then you say, oh, what's this over here or something? It's indirect redirection. You don't say, come over here, let's play. It's because that's a reward for that sort of threat, right? So you say, oh, what's over here? So it's indirect redirection. You are redirecting her, but you're not talking. You're just sort of talking to yourself. What's this? Oh, this looks good. So yeah, give that a go. It takes time sometimes. Can you advise on how to work with a 13-year-old that has very little respect for me as her mom and her stepdad? Yeah, I specialize in teenagers. They're my favorite age by far, because they're so developed, right? And okay, I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. Okay, because I can't give you a quick answer here. It's a whole slew of stuff. You have 4 different stages of parenting, by the way. The first is the baby stage. That would be newborn to 15 months. Then you go into the toddler stage, 16 to 35 months. That's when it's all consistent corrective actions because they kind of already know right from wrong, or they're learning. But in the baby stage, they're not they don't know right from wrong yet. So you're just training them right from wrong. You just go no, and then you use diversion. Okay, so the toddler stage is consistent corrective actions. Then you go into the kid stage, 3 to 12 years old. They're all about consequences. So if they do something naughty, there's a consequence. Like if you illegally park, there's a consequence. You see, that's how we learn too. But with teenagers, you got to back off a little bit, okay? Because they're transitioning into the adulthood, or they think they are at 13. But anyway, so this is what you do. This top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2, negotiate as much as possible. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Reciprocity, mutual respect makes a huge difference. Number 3, don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. If they do something stupid, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? Or do you want to hear what I did yesterday? And laugh it off, okay? You got to teach them it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we all learn. Okay, number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. A lot of parents do this. I'll teach them how to connect with their teenager, and then they'll want to talk about all the ways they've disappointed them over the last few years. Huge mistake. So then they'll say to me, when do we discuss the bad times? And I say, never. Why would you? What's the point? What's the point? That's just berating, shaming, and bullying. I don't get it. Don't discuss it. Let it go. Number 5, you can be a right fighter or you can be happy with a teenager. Think about it. They're going to die on any hill. They're going to fight. Even if they know they're wrong, they're going to fight. So why would you bother getting involved in that? Just say, I'll tell you what, let's just talk about it later, or let's just forget it, or whatever's appropriate. So that's my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. Okay. I'm struggling to be a leader for my 8 and 2-year-olds. I keep seeing how important it is to connect with them with your videos, but how do I structure my time to spend with both of them when they both want at the same time? Now that's a vast age difference to like, they're not going to want to play the same things. My kids are 5 years apart, but I still played. I didn't play with them apart very often. It was almost always the 3 of us. Like when I played with them, I didn't exclude one and play one-on-one. I just never did that. It was quite rare if I did. And, but yeah, I play with both of them. So yeah, I would do something with the older one, but I might have the little one sitting on my lap, bouncing them around, so I would play a game. And if we were playing a game where you're maybe throwing a ball, I might use the little one to sort of, kick the ball. Like, you see, I always did stuff like that. So yeah, just think of ways that you can include. You can still be doing stuff with the 8-year-old and the 2-year-old. It's usually playing up to the 8-year-old, not so much the 2-year-old. I often say you play to the younger one, but not at 2 so much. So yeah, have the 2-year-old there, and you might be tickling them or something. So try to include them. It sort of helps their bond too. But yeah, and there are times when, obviously, when I took my daughter to dance, my son wasn't there. You know what I mean? There were times when I was alone with them. But basically, when I was playing with my kids and connecting with them, it was a threesome, and they were 5 years apart. So they didn't have a lot in common, but we always, laughing at mom was a big thing. Like they used to, that's how they connected, was laughing at mom. So, and I like to set myself up as the fool, the goof, right? So yeah, we had a lot of fun. But yeah, you can find ways to have fun with them together. Like I remember I was playing games with my son, and I can remember having my daughter on my knee, and she was coloring or doing something like off to the side, but she was on my knee when I was playing a game with my son. I can remember that. Yeah, I didn't do the one-on-one time as much. I have a lot of reasons why I didn't, but you don't want to hear all that right now. I just think I don't know. I like that family time. Sorry, I have to go over to Instagram now because I've been on here for a long time. Anyway, if you want to check out my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can go to my, you can get my free behavior board, my boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for older kids. You can look into coaching. There's a big wait list, but I will get to it eventually if you're interested in working with me. Or you can look into our podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we save it on YouTube if you want to watch us. My daughter and I do it together. We work together. And she does all my marketing, all my planning. She's kind of in charge of the company. So I just do what she tells me most of the time. Anyway, I'm heading over to Instagram now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time whenever I'm doing a live. Okay, thanks for joining. Bye now. Oh, they keep changing how they do this. Drats. Keep hiding the buttons. The live button used to be right at the bottom. Now you have to 2 steps to get to the live button. Okay, now I'm on Instagram. I'll get going pretty quick on that because everyone turns up in a big clump. So usually in bed by 8. I'm usually in bed by 9, and because I'm up at 4 or 5 every morning. I'm a morning person. I'm lousy at night. I'm getting better right now. I had a big nap. I've been on medication recently. Horrible stuff. But anyway, just temporary. So yeah, I sleep a lot. I'm lucky I've got a job I can do that. Oh, there's already 100 people on here. Okay, welcome to my live on Instagram and YouTube at the same time. And I save all my lives on YouTube. Anyway, if you want to go to my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board, my boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. If you want to look into working with me, that's coaching. I've got a huge wait list for that, but I'll get to it eventually. And if you want to listen to our podcast, it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and you can watch it on YouTube if you want to see us. My daughter and I work together. We do the podcast together. She sort of runs the show. She does all the marketing and all the planning for the business. So she came on board a year ago full time. So very grateful. Okay, so welcome to the live. I'm going to get right to your questions. My toddler is 4 out of control. A 4 I consider a kid, like a preschooler. 3 and 4. Baby, this is the way I break it down. A baby is 9 to 15 months. A toddler is 16 to 35 months. A preschooler is 3 and 4. And then 5 to 8 is a kid. 9 to 12 is a preteen or tween. 13 and up is a teenager. Anyway, sort of the way I do it. Anyway, so my 4-year-old's out of control. I've been trying to follow your videos today. She told me because I said no to sushi, she was going to drive my car and then told me, what do you think She's 4. Who do you think I am? Was going to drive my car and then told me, who do you think I am? I don't know what you mean, but I don't quite know what's going on there. Sorry, I'm a little bit confused. So maybe you could rewrite it and just clarify that a little bit. So she wanted to drive your car at 4. I'm not too sure what's going on there. Okay, this is Gonzo. I'm struggling with my 5-year-old. I tell her to stop or listen, and she smiles and laughs. Why would you say stop or listen? None of that works, okay? 5-year-old, just have it on the behavior board. And you say, you have a rule, and you say, if there's something you don't want her to do, put it on the behavior board, like no hitting. So put her rule is no hitting. The behavior board's free on my website, BratBusters.com. The rule is no hitting. When she does hit, you don't say stop or listen to me or what. That's ridiculous. They don't listen. It's not the way you do this. You take action. It's all about consequences. So it's not about the word. It's not about lecturing. What you're doing is you're lecturing. Stop that. I don't like it. You know better. All that stuff is garbage. Okay. Just say, oh, okay, you hit. Let's go to the board. Now let me see. Your rule is no hitting. Here's your consequence. Follow through calmly. That's how you do it. We all learn. Like it's like if you're speeding and you knew the cop was only going to say stop. No, that's not what stops you from speeding. It's the fear of a ticket, right? It's the consequences or the fear of consequences. That's what stops us all. So why are kids any different? I'd laugh at you too if you told me to listen. Oh, maybe I wouldn't, but anyway. Okay. Okay, this is a very good question. You probably won't know why. Like you'll probably be confused by this, so I'm going to try and explain it. My oldest is 12. She hates PE, so physical education. How can I inspire her to like it more, or at least be excited about it? No, you can't. That's her basic like or dislike. You can't change someone's basic tendency to enjoy something. Like I remember my mom used to say, because I hate cooking and I love cleaning, and she used to say, well, maybe if you cook this way or cook that way. My mom loved to cook. She hated cleaning. And we were opposites that way. But she could never quite understand why I hated to cook that much because she loved it so much. Just because she loved it doesn't mean I'm going to like it. You see, but I love cleaning. But I never expect anyone else to like what I like. You see, my mom was a sweetheart, don't get me wrong, but she loved cooking so much. She figured it was just because I haven't found the right way of cooking or the right utensils. But then she finally learned that I really hate it. And I loathe cooking, actually. And it's like that. You can't force someone to like something. You just say, well, you got to do it anyway. You know, there's certain things in life you just got to do. So that's the way I told if my kids said they didn't like something, I wouldn't try and talk them into liking it. I'd just say, well, it's got to be done anyway. So if it's something they had to do, then you got to do it anyway. Right. So that attitude. And my daughter wasn't into physical activities much. She did a lot of dance, but she didn't like working out, like exercise. And I noticed she was getting kind of like to the point where I thought, you know, she's like 14 or something. I thought, I'm going to force her to start getting into fitness because I'm a real fitness hound. So she hated it when I turned up to school with the 2 dogs and with no vehicle because she knew and it was a long walk home. So she knew we were walking home from school. Now she's like me. She works out every day. She loves it. So, but yeah, that was about health, right? So I could just see she was going down a road where maybe she wouldn't be as healthy. So that's why I did that. I didn't have to do that with my son. He was more active than she was naturally. So, but yeah, now she's super active. So that was about health. If my toddler at 2 doesn't want to play with other kids, is this normal? Oh, absolutely. They don't really know anyone else is in the room at that age. Like they're just playing with the toys. They're not really they're not really interacting. They don't really play together until they're about 3 and a half, 3 and 9 months, actually. 3 years and 9 months is when I always think that's when it's just a bit of a turning point. So that's when they actually can build more friendships. At 3 years and 9 months, that's when that can start. But at 2, they're playing side by side. It's more like that. They're more into their own little world. And that's just my interpretation. There might be other interpretations, but I've been studying kids for 50 plus years. So I've always thought it was 3 years and 9 months when they really start to build friendships, because that's when they develop empathy, is 3 years and 9 months, or they have the ability to develop empathy. Okay, you got a 4-year-old. There's a girl at school and your daughter's picking up her bad habits. They don't do that when you're a leader. When you're a leader, they're under your umbrella and they take it everywhere they go. Okay. So yeah, they're only influenced by others if you're not a powerful influence. So your leadership is the powerful influence. So work on yourself, right? It's not her, it's you. It's always you. Parents always want to fix their kids. And I say, we don't do that. We fix parents. I teach parents here. I don't teach kidding. I teach parenting. You lead, they will follow. And what's interesting is whenever they say, well, you don't know my kid. And I say, yeah, I do. There's just got a different name. I've worked with I was never working with kids who were easy. I was always handed the challenging ones. So it's never the kid. It's always the influence. And that's you. So, and then I'll say to parents in coaching, I'll say, well, what do you think your kid would be like with me? And they all go, yeah, they'd probably be pretty good. So it's the leader that they will follow. They just naturally follow a leader. You want that to be you. If you're not a leader, they're very susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the Kardashians. You get the idea. They're going to look for leaders elsewhere. But when they've got a leader at home, they come to you with everything. They're influenced by you. What's your thoughts on positive discipline? I don't know what you mean by that. It's not a term I use, so I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Oh, when people ask me to critique other methods that are out there, I've never seen any. So I've never, ever looked at another coach. I've never read a book on kids or parenting. I stay in my lane. I only teach what I know through my own personal experience. So, and I'm very careful with that. I stay out of those lanes. The only reason I know some of what's out there is because my clients tell me what they've been doing previously. So they come to me, to fix it, whatever. So, but yeah, I don't know what's out there ever. Why would I critique it? I teach what I know and what I know works. So, yeah. How do you get them to listen the first time? You set yourself up as a leader. Like I would never repeat myself. Never. So yeah, set yourself up as a leader. It's everything I'm talking about here. It starts, the training wheels with all this is the free behavior board. So check that out. It's on my website, BratBusters.com, and it's a free behavior board. Check it out. And that's how you get them to listen to you the first time. That's how you start. Okay. Oh, I don't let anyone into my live videos. I only did it. I only did it once, and it was a disaster. I didn't know what I was doing, and I let someone in. They tried to sell. That was when I had like 26,000 people in a video in a live, and that was my biggest live ever. And I was brand new, and they tried to sell their stuff. I didn't know how to get rid of them either. This was about 3 years ago, and I didn't know how to get rid of them. Oh, it was a disaster. Okay, your 5-year-old doesn't listen to anything you say, blah, blah, blah. That means you're not, that's not them, it's you. That's you, on you. Everyone wants to blame their kids for not listening. It's just because you don't have their respect. You're not a leader. They listen to leaders. They just do. They look up to a leader. They want to please a leader. It's a natural instinct to want to please a leader. We're all kind of like that. Have you ever had anyone that you look up to, even as an adult, that make you feel good? They don't make you feel bad. There's no fear in it. They make you feel good. They bring out the best in you. You kind of want to please that person. It's a natural instinct. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. And it's the discipline's a tiny part of it. Everyone asks about discipline. It really isn't about discipline. It's about your connection. And when you do discipline, it's calm, quiet. Look at the pool story. It's a video. I've got tons of videos on it out there. Just Google BratBusters pool story. It explains it. It explains leadership. I deal with bad behavior. I don't take any crap. I deal with everything. But when you're learning how to do this, you don't do that. You start with one behavior at a time. But yeah, I don't take any crap. But I deal with bad behavior fast. I get it over with. I'm very calm. I almost whisper when I'm disciplining. Oh, that was an interesting choice. Here's what we're going to do. Okay. And then as soon as that's over, then I say, okay, let's go. Let's go play in the park. Let's go read a book. Right. So I deal with bad behavior. Then I focus on the good kid. My focus is always on the connection and treating them well so they feel good about themselves. I want kids to like themselves when they're with me. If they do something bad, I like it when a kid comes to me and says, Lisa, I did something bad. How about I make it up to you this way? I go, that sounds good. Okay. They're accountable, right? And then they learn that way. You want them to feel empowered. You want them to feel in control. They're totally in control. I never try and stop a kid from doing anything. I never tell a kid what to do. They just know if they make a poor choice, I'll come in with a consequence. Anyway, that's sort of level 10 with all this. But when you're learning, start with the behavior board. It's all attitude. It's all calmness. You know, it's sort of like the dog whisperer. What's funny is I'm useless with dogs. I've had dogs my whole life and I'm useless with them. They don't listen to anything I say. I spoil them rotten. But it's sort of the same thing, sort of the same energy, but with kids. It's that calm, loving energy. But yeah, it's sort of similar. A lot of people have compared the two, but I'm lousy with dogs. So yeah, no good with that. But anyway, it's a calm energy. It's not yelling or anything. It's very calm. You said you've got a 3-year-old and you say when she's hitting, hands are not for hitting. Why say that? What do you think that's going to do? Hands are not for hitting. She's going to say, yes, they are. Like, what does that lecture do? That's in the lecturing department. Trying to reason with her. It doesn't work. Can you imagine, like, if a cop said to you, he pulled you over and then he said, cars are not for speeding, no ticket or anything, just cars aren't for speeding. You kind of go, whatever, just speed away, right? It's like that. There's nothing in it. What does that mean? I don't even know what it means. Hands aren't for hitting. Okay, well, I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, of course it's not going to work. Check out my free behavior board, put down no hitting as the rule, and go from there. It's on my website. Any book recommendations? I've never, ever read a book on kids or parenting. I learned all this from kids. I was out in the field learning all this stuff. So it's all experience-based. So I've never read a book or I don't know any. Plus, if it would be someone else's information and I don't teach other people's information. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I know there are people out there using my information and teaching and making money off my information. So maybe someone has written a book with all my information. I don't know. I haven't written one. Okay. You got a 4-year-old who won't poop on the potty. Is this a boy? Yeah, it's usually boys. Spending so much money on underwear. Yeah. It's one of those things I've said so many times. I have to sort of reset my brain so I can tell it. The reason why a lot of boys won't poop on the toilet is plot phobia, they're cold, or the hanging phobia. And I'll explain that. So those are 3 reasons why they won't poop on the toilet. It's usually boys because they have more equipment hanging out down there. That's why I figured it's usually boys. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but it's usually boys. Anyway, so what you do is you use a porta potty and you put some toilet paper in the bottom so something is touching their bum so that they know it's not going to, there's no plop, there's no water that's going to splash them. So also something's touching their bum that's not just hanging there, it's going to hit the bottom before it exits them. I'm sorry I'm so graphic, but it's just the way it is. So they don't like that feeling of it tugging, hanging, because they're used to it all being smashed up on their pants, right? And then the other one is they might be cold. So warm up the bathroom, sit them on the little porta potty with a little blanket around them or something, or, hike up the heat. I don't know. So it's usually a fear of splashing, that hanging phobia. They don't like that feeling, or they're cold because it takes a while to poop. So you might get cold. That's sort of sometimes helps, takes time. How do you give consequences for siblings fighting, but you weren't there to watch who started it? Yeah, I've got what I call the interview method. So let's say they're 5 and 8 and they're fighting and they come to you, he did this, he did that. And I say, okay, time for an interview. Put a line down the center of the page and you say, I'm going to give you each 2 minutes, start a timer, and you tell me your side of the story. Oh, okay, that. No, don't interrupt. You'll get your 2 minutes if the other one interrupts. And then that and that. Yeah, I see. No judgment, no discussing it. You're just writing it all down. Then, 2 minutes is up. Now it's your turn. So what happened? Blah, blah, blah. Slow it down. Talk low, talk slow. Now let me see that. Okay, 2 minutes is up. Now let me see. Now slow it down. You always want to look calm and in charge and slow whenever you're doing this. Now let me see now. So you said that. I can't decide who started it yet. So let's do another minute. I'll give you 1 minute each. Okay, so now the truth will always stay the same. They might fix it up and buff it up a little bit, but lies will change. And as you do this interview, and then you might say, okay, I decide you started it, but you did react, you hit him. So you're both going to get a consequence. Okay, you can do it that way. Anyway, here's what's cute about that. When parents get good at this, I call it the interview, I don't know what to call it. But anyway, when parents get good at this, one of my clients recently, and I've heard this before, they said they heard their kids in the other room starting to fight. And the other kid said, oh, no, let's not fight. We don't want to go through another interview. They get bored with it. So yeah, you want to drag it out. And then also it gives the victim a chance to express themselves. The one who doesn't want to do the interview is often the one who's guilty. And parents tend to go off after the retaliator, not the instigator. I go after both or one. I usually try and figure out who starts it. That's sort of the troublemaker, right? And it's often the one you don't expect. So yeah, they might just go, and that gets the other one going. So I don't know. Anyway, it's called the interview method. Works really well with kids. They have to be a bit older, like 3 and 4 and above. What age do you start a behavior board? It starts at the age of 3. That's when they develop the ability to stop and think before they act. They can start to reason things out, but they'll learn as they go. But all 3-year-olds can start it, sometimes a little bit younger, but not much, like maybe by a month younger. But yeah, it's 3. That's when they develop, their frontal lobe develops more or something. I don't know. No, my daughter just texted me. She knows told her I'm doing a live. Good in the middle of a live. She works with me, so. Okay. I used my behavior board for my 21-month-old. No hitting and no biting. He did great when I brought him there and we played together a puzzle. What consequences do you recommend for it? I don't do that with toddlers. I don't use the behavior board. I use consistent corrective actions. So I'm not going to question that. There's a reason why it could be working is it's new and it's something developing. He's kind of, maybe you got lots of pictures, but it might wear out, like it might wear thin because he's really young to be. My granddaughter's 21 months old. I wouldn't do this with her. So I wouldn't do the behavior board with a 21-month-old. It starts at the age of 3. With under that, you use consistent corrective actions. So if they do something naughty, you say one word, no, and that's just a sign that you're going to take over. So you say no, and then you remove them from the fun or remove fun from them. Someone called one of my methods CCA, and I couldn't figure out what the heck that meant. That's consistent corrective actions. It's a mouthful. So use the behavior board to get them to listen the first time? No, I've never said that. Over a period of time, but it's not going to be the first time you use it. Okay. My son is all of a sudden having to be told 3 to 4 times. Yeah, I don't repeat myself ever. So yeah. So use the behavior to get them to listen the first time. No, they will listen the first time after you've been using the behavior board for 3 to 6 weeks, right? That's sort of the idea, but it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. What about back talking? That's in the attitude department, and you don't address it. Just go, alrighty then, or okay then, or whatever. If they're swearing or name calling, I would put that on a behavior board. But if it's just back talk, like I hate you, I go, okay, whatever, and then walk away, just calmly, calm. If you allow that to get under your skin, boy, they're in control. Okay, good question. And I don't have a good answer, but I'll explain why. When parenting, how strict should you be? I don't like the word strict, by the way. I use the word leadership. 2.5-year-old, should you pull them off over small things? What do you let slide, not let slide? If it's not a big deal, like if it's something really minor, I might use redirection. I'd say, oh, I'll tell you what, do you want to see what's happening over here? I might use that, but I can't, you'd have to give me examples. I don't know. Because, something that I don't tend to let much go, I'll be honest. But I play hard with kids. I don't just try and stop the bad behavior. I try and teach them what to do instead. So, but there's a combination of that. Okay, this is on YouTube here. Oklahoma, USA. 2 girls, 3 and 6. What would you do if the 6-year-old does a couple of things back to back? First throws her pencil. We have then in receiving, no board, no throwing. Oh, we have on board no throwing. Okay, so she does 2 things back to back. You can say, I'll tell you what, I call it third strike, you're out. When they do it on the 3rd time in a short period of time, I say, I'll tell you what, we're going to go straight to the other consequence. So you go to the big one. You always have 2 consequences for the kids on the behavior board, which starts at 3 years old. The first consequence is a positive action. You get them to do a chore or something. The second one is if they won't do that, then you take something away, which is usually 24 hours of no screens, something like that. Okay, so you're taking something that they love and use every single day, you take it away for a whole day. That's how that works. So if they do it twice, I would still have them do a chore. 3rd strike, I'd say, I'll tell you what, because you just did that 3 times now, I'm going to go straight to 24-hour media blackout. During that 24 hours, it is hell because there's nothing you can do because you can't do anything else. They've already got 24-hour media blackout. You can say this a couple of times. Ooh, if they keep doing the bad behavior, say, oh, that's why you've got 24-hour media blackout. Stay calm. Be careful. Don't say it in a snotty tone. I know you want to. It's justified, but it's not the right thing to do. Okay. Is there a leaderboard? I need all the leader tips. Well, that's the behavior board. It teaches you how to start with all this. And a lot of it is as we go along, like in coaching, people say it has nothing to do with the kids, nothing to do with the kids. And I say, no, it's all you. It's all your tone of voice, your facial expressions. If you ever look angry, frustrated, or disappointed, you're not a leader. Okay? Because that's criticism. That's judgment. I don't do that. You look at the pool story, it'll explain it all. The pool story, I can't tell it again. I've told it thousands of times. If you just Google BratBusters pool story, it'll come up. I've told the story too many times to repeat it. It explains everything. Someone made a good point and they said to me, wouldn't that kid recognize himself? Nope. I'm very good. When I tell a story, I've changed enough facts that it could be a boy or a girl. I changed so many facts in my stories because I don't want that kid who would now be an adult. I don't want those kids I'm talking about to ever know it's them. So someone pointed that out. I thought that was a really good point. No, I'm very careful with that. It is a true story, but I've just changed a few details. The importance of 2 parents being on the same page. It's really important, but you don't have to both be leaders. One can defer to the other. Like you can say the other parent, if they don't know what to do, let's say you're learning leadership and you're getting good at it, the other parent can use you as leverage. Let's say that's the mom and you're really good at leadership and the father's taking them out somewhere and they start acting out. The father can say, do you want me to tell mom? Your power is so good as a leader. That's all they have to say. And that says to them, we're on the same page. It's not wimpy at all. It's actually really good. It's not, if the one is a really stronger leader than the other one should defer to the leader. Do you want me to tell mom? Nope. Spankings or no? Nope. Don't recommend spankings. No spanking, no yelling. You don't need to do that when you're a leader. Okay. It's a sign you're out of control. How do you become a good leader? Just keep watching. It's not a quick answer. It took me like 50 years to learn all this. So yeah, it's not a quick answer. But I wrote down once what did I write? Oh, here it is. I don't like this. Okay. These are my top 3 leadership qualities. I don't like it because there's so much more to it, but there's 3 qualities, I guess, if I had to boil it down, would be these. Number 1, you be calm during the storms. So if you're disciplining, you're quiet, you almost whisper, you're very calm. Number 2, be crazy during the rainbows. When you're playing with your kids, be goofy, be crazy, be jumping around, crazy, right? So, and the third one is become a great listener. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. I remember when I was young, long time ago, back when the dinosaurs were roaming, my mom, if I told her a problem and I said, what should I do? And I was little, I can remember this, really little, like 3 and 4 years old. I can remember this. Mommy, what should I do? They said this and they did that. And she goes, well, I don't know. You're a smart girl. You can figure it out. She never told me what to do, but we would talk about it. And she was feeding me little nuggets, but I always thought I was solving my own problems. She taught me she made me feel very confident and very empowered. Okay. So, but that's what you want to do. So become a great listener. You empower your children by doing that. And they'll tell you everything. How do you help kids with ADHD? They're no different from other kids. They just need a little bit more patience and time sometimes. Okay. So those are all the kids I worked with. Oh, I don't have any. I don't. Do you have any tips for mamas whose husbands work from home and I can't let them cry it out? I really don't, because that's how you let them, get it out of their system and learn themselves and calm themselves down. What I would do is if I had a kid tantruming and there was someone in the house that couldn't be disturbed, take them out the front door. There must be a pantry. You got to be in there with them though. Okay. So I would go somewhere where you could close the door. You can go in the car and you can just sit them up in the front seat. You're not driving anywhere. Just put them in the front seat or in the back, whatever, but be with them, but don't look at them when they're having a tantrum. You're just letting them get it out of their system. They've got to learn to self-regulate. You can't help someone self-regulate. It's ridiculous. How do you address lying? Okay, so lying, I just put down no lying on the behavior board. And when I catch them in a lie, then I say, okay, let's go to the board. So you lied, blah, blah, blah. Don't treat it, and don't lecture. Don't berate and bully and shame them. You never want them to feel ashamed. You want them to go, yeah, I lied. Okay, what's my consequence? That's the attitude you want to have, because we all make mistakes, right? Whenever you get mad at a kid for making a mistake, you're saying you're not allowed to be human. That's sort of what you're saying. You're not allowed to be wrong. Yeah, they're allowed to, just like you are. You make mistakes too. Okay, I got a mug warmer for my birthday. Fantastic. Okay, how do you eliminate the dummy? Well, I don't know. That's the dummy, the soother, the pacifier, whatever you want to call it. I don't really have a great answer to that, but I'll tell you what I did with my son. He was addicted to it. It was always in his gob. Always was sucking on that dummy. Anyway, so he was 18 months old. The only reason I let him have it for that long was because we lived in Australia where my kids were born and raised. And we were traveling to Canada. It was a 24-hour trip with a layover in there. And I thought, there's no way I'm taking that dummy away before we go on that trip. So as soon as we got home, it was the day after we got home from Canada. We were back home in Australia. And I thought, today's the day I'm going to take it away. So he helped me. He was 18 months old and I had him help me put them all in a little baggie. And then he carried the bag full of all the dummies. And we went out to the garage and I opened up the lid to the wheelie bin. And I said, okay, bye-bye dummies. You're a big boy now. No more dummies. And I'd replace the dummies with sippy cups. I don't know what's safe these days, but it was little straw cup things. And he loved that. So I replaced it with something, but boy, he peed all day long. He was sucking on that water. He had water all day long and he peed constantly. And my kids were in cloth nappies, we used to call them in Australia. They were in cloth nappies and I was changing his nappies all day long after the dummy, but he never asked for one once. But he also knew I was already kind of a leader. He kind of knew when mom said something, it was going to happen. But sometimes he'd put up a bit of a stink, but I don't know why he didn't. I guess he realized that's it, but I replaced it with something else. He had sippy cups. New sippy cups, and he loved them. So yeah, boy, did he pee all day. Holy moly. Okay. Oh, sorry. I have to go over I've been on here for a while and I've still got lots of work to do. So I'm going to go over to TikTok now if you want to join me over there. And I'm on YouTube the whole time whenever I'm doing a live, because that's where I save all my lives. So if you want to go to my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for older kids. You can look into coaching if you want to work with me one-on-one. I coach people all over the world, but I have a huge wait list right now, so it would probably be a few months. I don't know. But people drop out because if they've been waiting for months, they've dropped. Some of them dropped out, so that might not be as big as I think it is. Anyway, that's coaching. And if you want to listen to our podcast, it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and you can see it on YouTube if you want to watch us do it. My daughter works with me. She does all the marketing, all the planning. She's kind of the boss in the company, and I just do what she tells me to do because she does all the planning. Anyway, so we do that together, and if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm hopping over to TikTok now because I go from my smallest platform to my biggest, and my biggest one is TikTok. So thanks so much for joining me, and happy parenting.
TikTok is handy.
There we go. Okay. What's the best way to address scratching when in a tantrum? Got one too many scars right now. Yeah, why are they getting access to you? And I might physically restrain them if they're having a tantrum. Just hold their arms and just sort of hold them away from me just for a minute or so or 30 seconds, then let go. If they come at you again, just hold them away. Don't look at them. Don't talk to them. That's what they're after. They want your attention. Anyway, I'm just waiting for people to turn up, so I thought I'd answer a question. I usually take a break now because my voice gets a little bit sore. Okay. How many people have got on here? Okay, just 17. Okay, I'll get going. People, TikTok takes a while to get for people to come in. I think because they feed out the live. It's weird. Instagram, everyone turns up in one clump, and everywhere else they peter in. It's weird. And I say that every time I do a live. I don't know why I keep repeating that because I never know why. Why do I keep saying that? Anyway, okay, so check out my website. It's BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my courses. I have one boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. If you want to look into coaching one-on-one with me, I coach people all over the world. It's all done online. And I have a huge wait list for that right now, but I'll get to it eventually. If you want to listen to our podcast, my daughter and I do it together. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and it's also saved on YouTube if you want to watch us do it. And because we film ourselves. And we just got really fancy new microphones. They're really cool. So yeah, we just upgraded. And we do 2 podcasts a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, this is a good one, and I get asked this stuff a lot, but I got no answer for you, and I'll tell you why. Advice for me as a martial arts instructor dealing with other people's kids. Nope, I've never done it. I teach parenting. So, and even when I was working with kids, it was always one-on-one. I didn't do group stuff. I've had to manage groups, and there are things that I do, but I can't teach that. I'm not proficient enough in that to teach it. But yeah, one-on-one or a couple of kids, yeah, I know how to do that. But yeah, because I mother all the kids I worked with and mentored and all that. So I only teach parenting. But yeah, it's tough. Very tough. It's a whole other skill level. I have nothing. Like a lot of my clients are teachers, principals, and child psychologists. I couldn't do their jobs. Even though we all work with kids, it's a different role. Parenting is a different role. Okay, you just got the #1 gifter badge. I did. I don't know how this works. By the way, on TikTok, I've got, I don't know how many people. I've got, I think almost 1 million followers just on TikTok. Anyway, so I'm in Canada. We don't get any money on TikTok here. They don't pay Canada. So yeah, and I never understand what gifters. I appreciate the support, but yeah, I just want to make it clear that I think people think that we get rich on social media. No, we don't. Like I certainly don't. So yeah, it's just where I share all my free stuff is all, and it drives people to the business and all that too. But I was on here. I just came on here to share all my information. 3 years ago, I came on TikTok and blew up overnight. I couldn't believe it. And I was just standing in my bathroom mirror talking to myself. So it was weird. But yeah, I love TikTok for that because it's really what set us up in the business. It just took off after that. But I was doing my business for 20 years, but it really changed after I went on TikTok. So I have a real soft spot for TikTok, even though they don't pay us. China doesn't. I don't know why they don't like Canada, but they pay everybody else but Canada and I think one other country maybe. So yeah, I'm not getting rich on here. I'm not doing these lives for money, put it that way. Oh, can I put screaming on the behavioral board? No, you can't. That's in the attitude department. You can't put that on there. It's, what are you going to do if he's screaming all day? What are you going to do? And it's too much of an ask just to ask a kid not to scream. It's too much. Where are you in Canada? I'm in Vancouver. And if sometimes I think I don't get many clients in Canada or Vancouver. Most of them around the world, other parts of the world. But I don't do any in-person stuff. I used to do a lot of TV and radio years and years ago. I don't do that anymore. This is where the power of the business is, on social media. So you go where the power is, right? Where the people are watching. But yeah, what I was going to say was, because sometimes people think they're in Vancouver too, so we could meet and coach. I don't do that. Because I've got like 10 minutes between sessions. How on earth would I drive somewhere and meet? You know what I mean? Okay. Said my almost 3-year-old has started hitting and screaming, like screeching, since he started Montessori. I'm assuming you mean Montessori. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. You can just have, if he's hitting, what you do is, he's 3 years old. He can have a behavior board because he's almost 3, so maybe a couple weeks away. I don't know. Anyway, so you can put on the behavior board, no hitting. The behavior board's free on my website. So when the teacher can report to you, okay? Since starting school. So if he's hitting at school, the teacher reports to you. Let them do whatever they do at school. Never micromanage a teacher. You send your kids off to someone else to look after. Don't micromanage them. Let them do whatever they do, but they should report to you. And then when he gets home, you say, oh, I see you hit at school today, the teacher said. So let's go to the board, and here's your consequence for hitting. So it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm going to read this out only because I don't know how to answer it and I like a challenge. How do you address pretending not to know material related to schoolwork avoidance behavior? They're pretending not to know material. Well, I don't know why they would do that. Wouldn't they just want to get through the homework? Do you have a routine for homework? Like, let's say for 6 to 6:30 or 6 to 7 every night we do homework, and I'm going to look at it afterwards. But even then, you don't always want to push kids to go for A's. You just want to push them to go for sort of their sort of best effort. I don't quite know how to answer that because I don't know what else is going on. That's what I'm getting at. There's other stuff going on. It's not just that. So I don't know what else is going on. Check out my behavior board or one of my courses. Might help you out. Behavior board's free, courses aren't. Behavior board is a mini course, but the other ones go past the behavior boards. Because you only do the behavior board for 3 weeks. You can keep it up for as long as you want, but the first 3 weeks are behavior boards in the big courses. And that's the behavior board course is the 3 weeks. And then after that, you go off the boards and you deal with everything. So the first 3 weeks are 3 different behaviors, 1 per week. You keep adding on to it. You got 1 the first week, 2, anyway. And then after that, then you deal with everything. That's in the bigger course. It's in the boot camp course. Other consequences rather than cleaning or 24-hour immediate blackout. Check out the free behavior board. It has ideas in there. And people get caught up in what the consequences are. It's the consistency of making them happen. So everyone thinks there's this one consequence. This will make the difference. No, it's not about the consequence. Look at the pool story. To give you an idea. Check out the pool story. I can't tell that story again. I've told it thousands of times. If you just Google BratBusters pool story, it'll pop up. So it's really not about the consequence. It's about the action of having one. But in the free behavior board, it's got lots of ideas for consequences. And there's always something. I've never worked with anyone where we can't come up with something. Teenage stuff is hard, I'll admit. Teenage stuff is a lot harder, depending on the age especially. It can be really challenging to come up with something, but there's different ways around teenage stuff. Generally, when I'm talking here, it's not about teenagers. They're a whole different category. We're hoping to get that teenage course done soon. We've just got so much on our plate these days. I keep putting it off. Or my daughter's in charge of all the planning. We've just got a lot going on. which is good. You know, when you get busy in business, I'm not complaining at all, but I'm just saying that's why the teenage boot camp course isn't done yet. Yes, you can watch this back. It'll be on YouTube. YouTube is where I save all these lives. Oh, how sweet. Thanks so much, Nanny Puffins. That's cute. I won't read that out because it's just saying nice things about me, but I appreciate that. Oh, good for you. You know, I always say, you know, I just give you the information. You're the ones who are doing it. So you put all the work in. Okay, good question. Suggestions other than filing nails while waiting out the tantrum. Because I always say when they're having a tantrum, just file your nails or something. You don't go on your phone. Don't talk to someone. It's rude because you still want to let them know that you just look like you're waiting for a bus for this tantrum to end. Okay, I look at my watch or out the windows and think about controlling my face. Would stretching be dismissive? Hard to stay. Yeah, good question. You could be doing the dishes or something. They'll follow you usually. So, but walk slow. And I would say this out loud to myself, oh, I got to get those dishes done. Because you can't just stand there for 20 minutes or whatever, you know, like filing your nails. They'll be bloody nubs, right? So, yeah, you can just say, oh, I'm going to go do the dishes or I'm going to go do the laundry. And they'll follow you around, but just look like you're doing mindless chores, right? Don't pick up a book and read, you know, mindless chores. You might look their way every so often, like, oh, you're still going, are you? But don't get eye contact. Just look their way. Let them know you still know what's happening, but it's not bothering you. You want to look like you know they're having a tantrum and you're waiting it out. Like, that doesn't bother me at all. I often use this example, that 8-year-old kid I was asked to work with, and I'd heard about him. He was a handful. And I was asked to work with him. And I said, sure. So I was just a behavioral mentor and a volunteer. And this is many, many years ago. And he said to me, I said, I'm always cheery when I meet kids. Hi there. How are you? I'm Lisa. And he says, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said to him, bring it on. And I just leaned back like, bring it on. He never did. He looked relieved. It's like, oh, finally a leader. Like, she knows what she's doing. They all want leadership. They need, crave, and want a leader. They're drawn to it. It brings out the best in them. That's all I teach here. Like, there's no way I'm afraid of a tantrum. Are you kidding me? Bring it on. Doesn't bother me at all. That's the attitude you want to have, right? It's not a challenging attitude. It's just bring it on. You got to be careful with that. Got to be careful how you say it. Not bring it on. You know, it's more like, oh, bring it on. Like, yeah, oh, I'll be here waiting. You know, kind of want to look like, whatever. He never did. He was great with me. Then the teacher asked me, he was so good with you. How'd you do that? And I said, oh, I asked him to have a fit. Can I get the behavior board without buying the courses? Yeah, the behavior board's completely free. If you go on my website, BratBusters.com, it's at the very top. So I never look at my website. My daughter does all this stuff. There it is. Okay, it's the black line at the very top of the website, and it says Get Access. That's the button that you push, and you'll get access to that. You have to sign up for a newsletter. Did you know that you're not allowed to just hand something out to people? You have to invite them in, and they have to agree to receive it. So that's why you have to sign up for the newsletter. It's against the law to just collect emails and send stuff out. Interesting, eh? Oh, good for you. I love that when I hear these methods are working, because that's why I'm here. That's why I do the lives too, because most people aren't going to hire me. I can't coach everyone who wants to work with me. And also not everyone's going to buy the courses, but these lives are still getting my message out and they're helping you. My number one goal is not that your kids are well behaved. It's not. My number one goal is that you enjoy parenting. My number one goal is that you wallow in parenting like I did. I loved it. It was the most fun I ever had in my life, was parenting my 2 gorgeous children. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I wallowed in it. And that's what I want for you. It's not everyone's going to wallow in it, because I was born to mother. I was just always trying to mother everything. So that's my thing. But I want you to enjoy parenting. That's my number one goal. And how can you enjoy it when kids are acting out? I love it when someone says, I'm enjoying my kids for the first time when I'm working with them. The first time I'm really, truly enjoying my children. That's what I want. That's my goal. Okay. What to say to kids saying, I don't love you anymore. Mom, does that make you sad? I would just go, whatever. He's just trying to get under your skin. It's very cheeky. Yeah, just go, whatever. Say, alrighty then. Or, okay. Yep. Don't let it bother you. It's very rude. It means he doesn't respect you, by the way. So you got to work on your leadership. You got to earn that respect. He's just saying it to upset you because he doesn't respect you. He's basically begging for leadership. Whenever they're acting out, I always look at it like a cry for help. They want you to be a leader. They're challenging you. So, so I'm just seeing, okay. And don't forget the podcast too. I should mention that more often. The podcast is where you get longer answers. So this live, I just get little snippet answers here, right? So, but on the, my daughter organizes all the lives. So you get longer answers. So that I go more in depth on the podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's funny because my daughter made me listen to one. Oh, agony listening to yourself. She goes, Mom, I'm just not sure about this. And she goes, can you listen to it to make sure it's okay? She's a real safety net with all this stuff. She wants to make sure I don't say anything inappropriate because, I don't have a filter, right? So anyway, so it's agony listening to yourself. It's just agony. But my God, I thought, God, I just don't have a filter. It's hard to listen to yourself because I really just say what I'm thinking. I thought, wow. I kind of shocked myself. Anyway, it just struck me as funny. I thought, holy moly, I could see why I'm a loose cannon and she's the opposite. She's very cautious. Nothing comes out of her mouth unless she thinks about it first. I'm the opposite. It flies out and then I think, oh, there you go. It's out there. The name of the podcast is called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's really doing quite well. We're doing 2 a week now. We started with 1 and very quickly we went into 2. But yeah, and it's nice because we're mother-daughter, right? And she knows me so well and she's really good at being your voice. Because she's not a parent yet. She will be one day, but she's not a parent right now. And but she's really good at knowing what you're asking because I don't look at my social media. She does all that. So she knows what you're asking. She knows your voice. And also I know my coaching clients. I know them very well. But they're not my big audience on social media, right? Most people aren't going to hire me for coaching. So, but yeah, I know my coaching clients, but she knows you. She knows the bigger audience, right? So yeah, she's my voice. Please help. My autistic kid is immune to discipline. Autism is something I only talk about in coaching because it's more of a specialty. So that would be one-on-one coaching with me. I can't discuss it. And with autistic kids, we're throwing mud at the wall and seeing what sticks. I need a bit more history with kids with special needs. So I need to know what has stuck in the past, what does work, what doesn't work. But usually I don't care much about the past. I move forward. Therapists do work on the past and fixing it. A coach works on the future. So, right. So, but with special needs, I do need to delve into the past a bit more. But that would be all coaching. I can't generalize. They're all so different, right? Okay, I got to get going. I got still lots of work to do tonight. So it's 8:22, and I'm usually in bed really soon. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Check out my website. It's bratbusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my courses. I have 2 boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for older kids. Or you can look into coaching one-on-one with me. I coach parents all over the world, but I have a huge wait list right now. But I'll get to it eventually. Or if you want to listen to our podcast, my daughter and I work together. We do the podcast together. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we save it on YouTube if you want to watch us do it. And we just upgraded our microphones. They sound like butter. They make us sound really good. Anyway, thanks so much for joining, and I'll be back again soon. Happy parenting.